What's going on, Infected? It's Wolf the Quarantine, and this is Kickstart Your Week. So before we get started, I hope everybody had a great International Tabletop Day. I did. The biggest game we played was Fury of Dracula. Dracula won. But if you're not familiar with what this show is, this is Kickstart Your Week. I go over the past about week's worth of Kickstarters, and I check to see if any of them looked interesting, really. There's no hard, fast rules. It's completely biased. It's just what piqued my interest. If the interest caught or if the thumbnail or maybe the name or something about it, I click on it, I skim the article, might watch the video, and that's about it. So, and then I'd put it here, just if I think you guys would enjoy it. Now, if you like this style of show, check out the Gamerati. I have a link down in the description that'll take you directly to their site. If I'm not mistaken, they also should be coming to YouTube here soon. Basically what it is, it's kind of like this show, but it's me, Joey, Marcelo. We all just kind of BS about one Kickstarter game and why we think, why we chose that one, and we delve a little bit more in depth about the one that we chose. Now, starting this list off in no particular order is going to be Court of the Dead, the Mourner's Call board game. Now, this one interests me for a couple reasons. The first one being, of course, the minis in it look really, really nice, and I love the artwork. But the biggest thing that intrigues me about this game is it has one of my favorite mechanics in a board game where you all are begrudgingly working together. So, from what I understand, the storyline is basically heaven and hell are basically in like a Valhalla kind of war, and they are using humans to fuel that war. They're recruiting the humans, basically like Norse mythology, if I'm understanding what the story of the game, how it goes. And the Reapers are the ones that transport the souls to whatever side. Now, the Reapers are tired of that humans are pawns in this war, so they basically like rebelled, and now you can channel the three different courses to try to equalize the playing field and and level everything and bring balance to the universe or whatever. So it's a really interesting concept, but where the part that I like is there can only be one victor, but everybody also has to work together throughout this in order to like fight back different areas and make sure there's balance in the game, because like if you have more troops than I do, you're going to be increasing this meter a bunch. Once it maxes out, everybody gets punished. And just like these power tokens and stuff that you get, same exact thing. So you all kind of have to work together begrudgingly, but only one of you guys wins. So it brings up really interesting dynamics. And it's one of my favorite dynamics in these kind of begrudging co-op games. I love that. Then the fact that it has like 50 metal coins doesn't hurt either. I'm a sucker for metal coins. But yeah, that is my number 5 is Court of the Dead. Next up is the Alhambra Designers Edition. Now, I have almost pulled the trigger on Alhambra numerous times. I watched them play it on tabletop a long, long time ago. I thought it looked really cool, but I've just never got around to getting it. I mean, hell, it took me a while to get Carcassonne and Kingdom Builder. I don't think they played Kingdom Builder on tabletop, but I don't remember. It took me a while to get those. Those were another one of those games that, I really want to get. They're really good games, but I never got around to getting them. Alhambra is right there in that same boat. Now, the way Alhambra is you are, there's like this open market, and you're trying to basically build a city with, on Alhambra, if I'm not mistaken, that's actually what they're called. And you wind up scoring based on like your longest wall and a couple other aspects. And it's a really interesting kind of abstract strategy game, kind of, but with a spatial element, because where you place your pieces matter in your little city, and then you bid on, if I'm not mistaken, you bid on territory. It's been a while since I've actually looked up exactly how to play Alhambra, but if you're like me and you're kind of on the edge, do you want to pull that trigger, this might be the time that you do, because if I'm not mistaken, it has like 9 exclusive expansions that are just added from this. So, like I said, now is probably going to be the time that you're wanting to jump on board. Next up is The Exorcism at the House of Monkton Falls. Now, this one wasn't even on my radar, but I heard Joey talk about it actually on the podcast, and it seemed really interesting. So it looks like it's a cooperative like murder mystery, but the whole game is just cards, which I'm kind of a fan of because they're usually kind of small. Throw them in a glove box, and they're usually a smaller game. Now, this is, again, all cards. I think they're standees for the player characters, but you're trying to move around this mansion that is also cards. You build the mansion with these cards. You're trying to move around this mansion to find basically objectives to exorcise a ghost that's in the mansion. The ghost, all the while, is trying to kill everybody else. But what really kind of caught my eye with it once Joey had mentioned it is the art style. The only colors in the game are black, white, and red, which I really like because those all, black and red being my favorite colors because I'm an edgelord apparently. Those colors all complement each other really, really well. They're contrast, and then red against black and red against white really stand out and set a mood. And this game uses that, and it from everything Joey was saying, and I'm not going to delve too far into it, it does seem like it's going to be a really neat little game. If you'd like to hear more about that one, either go to the Kickstarter page or check out the game already down below. Next one I'm going to talk about here is Lumine and the Curse Tower. Now, the biggest thing that caught my interest on this one is the phenomenal artwork and the minis in this game. But what the game actually is from what I understand, it's basically a one versus all, kind of a fantasy dungeon crawler, basically. It's not actually a dungeon per se, but you kind of get the idea. You have this map, and you're exploring it, and one's trying to kill the other while the other's trying to accomplish goals. And it's if I understand how to play correctly. But the biggest reason it's on this list is, again, the artwork looks really, really nice. I really like the artwork, and the minis look beautiful. And lastly this week is going to be the Black Rose Wars. Now, from what I understand what Black Rose Wars is, it is a tactical, like, PvP minis-based game where you have these hexes, you have a team, I have a team, we're fighting. Now, where it seems like it stands apart is rather than I just have to kill you and then I win, you can either win by, of course, I can kill you, I can complete missions, or I can burn down your lodge. And you do this by traveling all over the map. It looks like you're opening gates where you're flipping tiles and it changes what they are. You can reach into like this weird realm to pull out spells. So you get spells from different schools to try to help you. And I kind of got the feeling from watching the video that some of them may not be that great. Which is kind of an interesting mechanic where you bust your chops to try to get these stupid spells, and one of them is not that great. So, but the biggest thing that intrigued me here is, of course, the minis in this look really, really nice. And sometimes I'm in the mood for a roll up your sleeves and we're gonna duke it out kind of board game, and that's pretty much what this looks like it's gonna fill, but with a unique little twist. So instead, it's maybe if I'm losing, I'm not completely out. I can try to go for these missions instead if you've killed a lot of my mages, stuff like that. So that looked kind of interesting. Alrighty, and those are my 5 games for this week. Now, my arbitrary Kickstarter of the Week award is actually going to go to Court of the Dead. Now, for many reasons. A, the minis in this look really, really nice. I love the theme. The theme is kind of interesting. And I love the begrudgingly cooperate kind of game. I love that mechanic in games. I'm trying to think of a couple of games that I have that do that. I know Crises, which if you've seen my show and you've maybe watched my review for Crises, I'm not going to get too much into it, but Crises is kind of like that. You all kind of have to work together until one person can shoot off on their own reliably, because you're relying on the economy not failing. And I love that. And that's the first game that comes to mind. Pretty sure I have more, it's late and I can't think of them right now, but I love that mechanic so much. And then, of course, like I said, the minis look great, the artwork looks phenomenal, and overall the gameplay just looks really, really solid. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this show. If you would like to help support me, I will have a Patreon link down in the description. If you're afraid of commitment, as I know some people are, I do have a tip jar down in the description as well if you'd like to do a one-time donation. Every dollar helps. I definitely would appreciate it, especially because YouTube did pull out my monetization, which is another way you can help me. If you're new here, subscribe, stick around. If I can get over that 1,000 subscriber marker, I'll be able to get my funding back. So if you'd like, share this video as well. Any amount of support would be appreciated. Anyways, play more games, and I'll see you guys next time in the quarantine.